Right, welcome back everyone. We are into round 6 and they have just started time. So here we have Ob versus Hoshiko. Now there's a lot of Ob going around, so in this case we're doing another Ob game to see some more of it. We did have the option of having the exact same matchup happen again with 2 different players, but instead let's see some Hoshiko played instead. Played here by Theo, who is the UK Nats champion for this year, so or rather last year, because that was some months ago. And it will just be me commentating this time because other people are on other duties, including judging. So, Ob getting started. Remote R&D, keeping the hand open. Knowing that, you know, we don't have to worry about criminal here with some pressure on HQ, so we should be alright. Although Hoshiko likely to want to make a run on HQ, get some information, possibly steal an agenda, who knows, and also we'll get an access and be able to flip, or in this case switch to a different card. We've got an interesting opening hand here. I assume that Theo maybe mulligans to end up with this, but I guess Cleaver is really what you want early on, because it breaks pretty much every Wayland card there is. And now we see a border control, so that's going to be 1 to break, but then it's going to be popped to go and get probably a sandstone, because it's a 3 cost and the strength is going to be high enough that it's going to be a threat to deal with. There we go, there is the sandstone. Yeah, border control into sandstone, and then what, you can go and get your Marilyn or something similar. And again, the fact that you can go and tutor out that tranquility grid when you need it is very, very good, especially when you can build a remote that has sandstones and border controls, so whatever's in there is very protected. Making a run on HQ as we expected to access a card, we access an extract. So it could be that is a Marilyn in that server, we're going to turn it into something, but no, it's a Rashida. So last there we've got a gain R2 and flip, and then we take we installed our fermenter, so that's got a counter on it. So we get our Rashida value, which is going to move the corp ahead very nicely and give them lots of cards. So we're probably going to see a play 3 cards this turn. I think that might be, oh my gosh, is that what I think it is? That is an armed asset protection by the looks of it, which is not what you would expect. So possibly we've got some discard pile tech stuff in here, so we might have spin doctors along with planning to have slash and burn, and maybe cards like that where we can fast advance by having extra copies of cards that let us place 2 advancements, and ones that are in faction as well. And by doing that, we can then obviously shuffle them back with the Spin Doctor, and we can get extra value out of that armed asset protection. And then right now in Archives, what we've got a border control and a Rashida, so we're going to be gaining 1, 2, 3 credits with armed asset protection, and if we get an agenda in there, that will go up to 5 credits, which starts to look a little bit more like a YDL kind of value. So, lots to think about on the runs here. Probably going to be playing that strike fund to make sure we get our credits up. It looks like we've got a lot of the things we want to be playing, but unfortunately not enough money and draw engine to work with it all. We draw into a Botulus. So that was gain a credit and then play Lego Paranoia Shelter as the final one there. Protecting HQ, and then also taking some money from the Regolith. Regolith is very good. If you do manage to get one out and take all the money from it, that's often most of the money you'll need for the game. So if you're able to protect one long enough, it can really make a huge difference for the corp in being able to focus more on more important things rather than just playing cards and clicking for credits and getting more money. So Thea's got a handful of options, but unfortunately not quite the credits to be able to do stuff with, and has to be very careful with with this fermenter because there is probably Threemavirus on the other side of the table. Okay, we're going to moshing away an Imp, a Strike Fund, and a Botulus into our discard pile. Getting 5 credits and 3 cards as a result. There is the Audrey, and a cookbook, so we can see we're on some kind of mulch package here. So that was first click, by the looks of it. Are we then going to see Cookbook Audrey run? Okay, no, we're going to run Archives, see the face down, which was a piece of ice. Then we're going to Cookbook. Cool. So we're running so we can get an access so that we can flip and gain the 2 credits as a result and get a free card draw next turn. Also with Paranoia Shelter, if they do end up cashing out that Regolith and installing something in there, we'll be able to get a card out of it. So a card is installed in a remote server, Paranoia Shelter fires, we trash the top card, which is an Audrey, and then take a card to hand, which is the Twinning. That Twinning is going to be nice. Twinning will give us a lot of pressure to be able to put on centrals, which is a good way to help deal with this deck when they are working on their remote and trying to build up and score out of there. And there we go. There comes along. Oh, I forget. Regolith, even better. It costs 2, and then goes down to trashing into a Tranquility Home Grid, which continues to print you even more money. So we lost a credit and then we draw for turn. We do have an Audrey, which let's bring up the numbers on Audrey. Audrey has some interesting numbers on it. It can be very good. So it'll be 2 cards trashed from hand to get up to strength of the Sandstone and then a counter to get through. Then we could go through and trash what's left. We also have a Fermenter with 8 credits on it, which is the kind of time where you want to be popping it, because otherwise it might be popped otherwise by the corpse action. Although, sorry, it's still the corpse turn? No, I think the corpse is now discarded. Yeah, there we go. So trying to do the cookbook maths here. We're going to pop the fermenter, makes sense. Take 8 credits. Which means it was a net 3.5 credits per click on that, which makes it just slightly worse than a Sure Gamble. But it was all in one card, so maybe a little bit better. We cookbook down our Audrey, which gives it a virus counter. Now when we run, we add a virus counter onto it. We trash 2 cards, taking 2 credits from the Strike Fund. And then that lets us get through by using the virus counter on it. Knowing that the other end here, we're going to clean up here, trash that Tucana, then trash the other card. And it's whenever you trash a card, you get a virus counter, so we're feeding the Audrey there. Tucana, I believe, is 1 to trash. It is just 1 to trash. A lot of power on Tucana, but very easy to get rid of. And we can see now in hand, we've got an Azef, and I think that's 2 slash and burn. So if we can find a Spin Doctor, there's a line where we can score out of hand whatever we need to. We're putting a Rashida in there, I guess hoping that we can force the runner to go through it all, just to find a Rashida and get rid of it. And if they don't, then we get a Rashida. So it's a win-win. Unfortunately, it will let them use a virus counter and then gain the virus counter back when they trash the Rashida for a mere 1 credit. But it's 2 cards from hand that maybe the runner isn't quite ready to trash yet. And it looks like Cornelius here is trying to divert the attention away to R&D by icing up over there. Oh, here comes the price. For the price, Fermenter, Labour Rights, and Strike Fund. So it's going to be a Fermenter, and it's going to be 2 credits from the Strike Fund. Not a lot of choice in that one. But probably pretty happy to have the Fermenter, and this time coming with 2 counters because of the cookbook. So it's even closer to becoming a good worthwhile thing to play, thing to pop. Thinking here about the options. So Cornelius has got 16 credits, so plenty of credits to play with here. So anything could be rezzed, but with 2 Audrey counters, you can break 4 subroutines, which could be enough to get through a lot of these cards. You do have to watch out for Stavka Hafren. Could be something that comes up, which would be actually quite devastating, to be honest. Let's just check. I believe Hafren is... I don't know how often people play Stavka Hafren anymore, but it is certainly a nasty thing you have to worry about against Ob decks. It's often worth playing a single Hafren and a single Stavka, just so it's a threat that is there. When you res a side string and run against a server, you may trash a card from HQ, choose an installed runner card, so in this case you choose Audrey, and that can't break anything. And that would be then Audrey and Cleaver both getting trashed when they run into the Stavka, because you pull the Hafren out at a different timing window when they're already facing the Stavka. And then you don't even need to trash a card with Stavka. Or you can use the Stavka to trash a Sandstone that's on the table to go get the Hafren. So the Rashida does end up firing for 4 cards for the mandatory draw, and then 3 credits. Now, there are options here. We haven't seen a Spin Doctor yet. There's another... Oh gosh, we're looking at possibly a little bit flooded there. So we've got alright, protecting even more on here. I think we're going to end up with a hand that's almost full of agendas here. Is that another Rashida going down? Yes. No, something else. Probably an Azef protocol. And then putting something with it as well. And then discarding. Now, that hand, I think it's got 3 agendas still in it. So, if there is any kind of HQ value here, it's a good time for it. Okay, here's the Mavarus, and we pop it to go and fetch. Is it going to be a Tucana? Because a Tucana sitting in that server would be very nice if that is an Azef that we're about to score. Although the problem we're going to have is we're just going to have too many things in hand. There's a Descent. Okay. So yeah, we're hoping to take that Descent back and filter our hand a little bit to clear things up and put those agendas back in the deck. Although with Ob, we're always filtering, always taking out cards that aren't agendas, so we increase the density over time until it becomes a pure block of pure agenda. So the text on Descent here is that you can put it back in your hand if you fancy it when your turn begins, and then you can use it. Reveal and trash it from HQ, draw a card, reveal up to 2 agendas, put them into R&D. So yeah, we've got 3 agendas in hand there. And maybe an Extract and something else in there. Possibly an Audacity. Down comes Keiko and Class Act. Class Act, a very expensive card, but it's a lot of value, especially if you're Hoshiko and you're drawing once a turn. It makes a big difference. And then finishing our turn, doing the filter draw with Class Act. Looks like the price is going to the bottom, so we feel like we've got everything we need. We just need to make it all happen. Oh, but here comes the Azef protocol. So in this case, we chose not to take the Descent back and fire it. We just wanted another End the Run. We're going to eat the Sandstone. So you go and get a 2-coster as part of the cost of scoring this Azef. Now, What is that card? Two damage amongst all of these. There's a finality. Oof. So the fermenter maybe not. No, the fermenter is pretty important. Our money's pretty low, but we've got one on the table that will be cooking away. But the finality is definitely closing out the option of a gung-ho win at the end there. But after all this time and all this back and forth, we've just got 2 points scored so far on the Corp side. We see another Ace-F in hand. We also see Slash and Burns in hand. I guess knowing that the runner spent 4 and 3 on Class Act and Keiko means we know they're poor enough that they're not going to be able to get through that server anyway, so maybe we change our plan about Descent and instead we focus on just trying to score out these A's-Fs. So it's a 2-cost. Oh, that's a Holloman. That's what that card is. There is a Holloman on R&D, which again, most of the credits here have been from maybe a single extract and cashing out an entire Regolith mining license. So, like just 2 cards can give you all the credits you need. There is the Holloman in case anyone needs it. So there is an option for the Corp to just install the A's-F, move the Holloman, install the A's-F, click the Holloman, and place an advancement. So then for 5 credits, you can do 2 damage and trash the Descent to go get something else, or trash the Holloman to go get a Tranquility Home Grid if you think you want a bit more credits. But yeah, with all those gens in hand, we need to find a thinking through the options here for the runner. Definitely a difficult situation. Unfortunately, the money's run up a bit too dry that it's really hard to bounce back from here. We've used a lot of the strike funds already as well. And everything just feels like it might be a little bit too slow. Although there's only been 1 agenda scored, so maybe we can, taking 3 credits here. And then discarding a Paladin Puemo. Now the Corp moves the Holloman over in preparation. Oh, there comes an Above the Law off the top. Probably going to be better than the A's-F Protocol at this point. So install. Lending the Lego Paranoia Fire. Then paying the 5 to use the Holloman and place an advancement. Technically should just double check for clock, but losing the cookbook there, which is important because that means that Audrey is going to be a lot harder to get online and get it to do something. As once it runs out of counters, it's a lot harder to get them back. So now on 4 points, still needs to find a 3-pointer score, which it's difficult to score. Yeah, to score a 5-3 from hand is very difficult, so probably no advancing it. But with the runner on low credits and with an Audrey that hasn't got any counters on it, definitely possible that you can just put it on the table and see what happens. And even if they do steal it, if they have to trash a program, they're not going to be happy about that either. How are people finding the stream at home today? We've had some really exciting games. We've seen a nice double deep dive finish. We've also seen an excellent forfeit with an archer just to make sure you're still a point ahead at the end of the game. There's been some very good games today. Lots to think about for Theo in this position. Especially as also it's important to remember there is, I believe I saw a hostile takeover in the deck, which I think is a one-off, possibly so that if you get an archer to counters, you can just go find it. Although the more I say it, the more I think I might be doubting whether that is actually the case. Maybe there isn't a hostile. So down comes Buzzsaw. That's going to help get through the descent. And yeah, the cleaver can probably break what's the other side, but if it's another sandstone, there's plenty of credits. If that is a sandstone or a border control, it's a tithe. Okay. So can just get through that, take a damage, and let the corp gain a credit. That's fine. We don't mind that. Lose a daily cost. A little bit annoying. I'm sure that would have been a nice final click for this turn. But then we get to trash that Holloman, giving us a counter. And now we're back in the game. Audrey with no counters is completely useless. And Audrey with a single counter suddenly becomes one of the best breakers in the game. It is wild how different that card can change from just a single versus no counter. So now I believe we still have an Azef, so we could well, no, we're not going to armed. Yeah, we're not going to use the slash and burns because we don't just want to put them in archives and leave them. So install advance. Oh, we are. Okay, we're going to use one of them just to, I guess, because it's just good tempo. We can go get a 0 coster here. It could have been okay to get a spin. Oh yes, of course. Go get a spin doctor so that we can res it, draw to and then we'll be able to shuffle back that slash and burn back into the deck. And then we still have a slash and burn left in hand so that we can score from hand any other 2-3 we find, which could be an Azef. In fact, yeah, it will be the last Azef is the only option, I think. But it is nice having some spare agendas that you will always have an agenda around if you want to score, and also some of them let you fast advance the other agendas to give you that advantage over the runner. And again, with Ob being able to go fetch what you need is excellent. So then drawing 2, there is the Azef and an Atlas. So this is a critical point for Theo to figure out a solution here. Obviously, he doesn't know what's in that hand. And he's got to be thinking, well, if I'm going to run the deck, maybe I should run archives first, because then there'll be an extra agenda, which will increase the density. But somehow needs to find enough points and flush out the hand. That imp could certainly help. And if we play imp, run HQ, but we haven't really got much multi-access until we get the twinning down. So imp comes down for a credit, and then the paladin credit we gain. I believe we should pay 1 more there. Okay, I feel like we should have paid 1 more, but okay. Running that to force it to pop. Putting back some cards. Makes sense to put back a border control, gives a lot of options. And then I believe we're just going to go in and run HQ and find out what happens. I guess the twinning doesn't make sense because you've already got You've already used the Paladin credit, so... oh, you could have just delayed it, though. You could install 20 hard, and then use the Paladin credit to install the Imp, to then give you a bonus counter, knowing that you're probably going to use Order to get through, although in this case we went with the Buzzsaw, because we can pay 1 to break the Afshar, at least as much as we can of the Afshar, and then get through. Now we're going to see 1 card, and we will be able to Imp it if we want to, but we'll probably just take that. That's a slash and burn. That's the most important one to find, so Theo doesn't know it, but that has really saved him at this moment. Unless there is, of course, an Audacity in hand that I haven't noticed. So running back again, paying the credit, armed asset protection. I believe we just... okay, no. We do go and trash it, because we want that order counter to give us the opportunity to threaten and run wherever we need to. So install, advance, and there's the Audacity. Yep, there we have it. There was an Audacity in hand. There's just so much fast advance in that deck. Maybe 2 or 3 Audacities, 3 slash and burns, maybe 2 slash and burns. Yeah, that can do a lot for you. I believe we're just explaining some line. Oh, this was the hand. Yeah, that was the hand that was offered. Theo did see one of the important hits, but needed to hit that Audacity as well. So needed to hit 2, 1 in 5, and then 1 in 4. Yeah, so very limited odds there, but Cornelius manages to come away with it and get 3 points for the round. Thank you all for joining. We'll be back for the next round in a bit after a little break, because I need to get some water, because it turns out talking for about 10 hours in a day, not quite 10 hours yet, but you know, getting close to 7 hours, 6 hours now. Talking for that long does get you a bit dehydrated, so you should go get some water too, because water's good for you, and we'll see you back